Welcome, everyone. This is Bishop J with Man Cave, where the only way out is man up. Thank you for joining me and thank you for spreading the word about Man Cave on social media. I do appreciate that. This is our first session, and we want to talk about some things that to help empower and to inspire men. Ladies, by all means, go ahead and listen in, but this is kind of like barbershop talk for men where we want to lay our head down and talk about real world issues. If you don't want to ask questions online or on the social media or on this page, you can always email me at mancavemanup14 at gmail.com. So for tonight's session, we want to talk about being buried alive. Of course, this is not literally, this is figuratively. We want to talk about how words can make or break a person. You ever heard that old adage, for those who are around my age, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Not necessarily true in this time frame, because we've seen in social media how words can cause people to take their own lives, bullying or on cyberspace and things of that nature. And as men, many times I won't say, as men, we look for validation from other people, whether it's our families, whether it's our spouses, whether it's our friends, our homies, whatever the case may be. We look for that validation sometimes as we grow, because we want to make sure that we're making the right decision, and it's helping to form us. But do you really realize that words are so powerful? They're powerful enough that letters make words, words make sentences make paragraphs, and those words are so powerful enough that it can take a person away from reality in a book and take them to a far off land and make them think that they're actually there as they're reading this book. Well, words are just as powerful in our lives. Many times we take for granted when we say things that the power that's connected to it. And for example, say if you have children and you call your child stupid, or you call your child dumb, or you call your child ignorant, or you say to your child, you'll never be anything, or you're mentoring someone in the neighborhood, mentoring another young brother, another young man, and you say, you know what, and you just don't get it, and you're just dumb, you're not picking it up, you're stupid, you're never going to be anything. Those words have power. And what you're doing with those words, you're actually burying those individuals that's on the receiving end of your word. You're burying them in a coffin that's going to be a part of them for the rest of their life. Those things that you say are attaching itself to that individual, where they after so long they hear it so much, they start to say, you know what? Yeah, I am dumb. Yeah, I am stupid. You know what? Dad was right, or my homie was right. I was never going to amount to anything. No, no. Watch what you say to individuals, especially to other brothers, because the Bible talks about iron sharpening iron. We have to be able to bounce off one another, to be able to sharpen one another, to make sure that when I'm down, my boy can bring me back up, and vice versa. So when you start using words and you start talking to individuals about certain things, for example, a spouse, when she starts talking down to her husband, or she starts saying things to belittle him, or discredit him, or decharacterize him, he starts to go into that shell and start to say, you know what, I'm not anything. I'm not anybody. She's right. She's my wife. She sees it. Yada yada yada. Wait a minute. Hold on. When we talk about building individuals up, it comes with empowerment. It's telling that person, yeah, you can do it. Yes, you can be anything. Growing up in school, people would say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a president. Whatever the case may be, that person is speaking that into existence. They're speaking that into their lives. That as they get older, and even though career paths may change, as they get older, they look to say, you know what? I've spoken this, and here I am. So the same thing has to happen even as we are older men. It doesn't matter what age you are. You can start at any age by starting to say to yourself, listen, I can be this. I can be that. I can make this happen. So let's go to the Bible a little bit real quick. I'm not going to preach, but I like to validate the things that we talk about. And I want to validate that with scripture, basically. So in the scripture, in 2 Samuel 9 and 10, there's a young man by the name of Mephibosheth. And Mephibosheth was the grandson of Saul and the son of Jonathan. Jonathan and David were homies, they were best friends. As Saul, his father, was trying to kill David, Jonathan would tell David what's going on. He would bring him secrets from the castle, let him know, hey, my dad is coming at you this way. My dad is coming for you this way. You need to be over here. You need to be moving here, thus and so. So Jonathan and David had that homey relationship to where they trusted each other, and David trusted Jonathan with his life. Well, when Mephibosheth was 5 years old, his father Jonathan and his grandfather Saul were killed. Actually, Saul killed himself, but Jonathan died on the battlefield. Okay, Bishop J, where are you going with this? Well, I'm going with this is when that incident happened and the individuals found out that the ones that killed Jonathan were now coming for Jonathan's family. The nurse grabbed Mephibosheth in haste to get him away so that way they wouldn't kill him. But in her haste, she tripped and she fell, and Mephibosheth's legs were broken. And when they were broken, he was maimed from that point on. He was lame from that point on. He could never walk again. He had to use crutches. He had to use sticks. He could never walk on his own without any type of assistance. So where I'm going with this is a circumstance created his inability to be able to stand on his own. A circumstance was now created that caused Mephibosheth not being able to walk, not necessarily not being able to advance, but not being able to walk. He was crippled. So circumstances in our lives as men can cripple us to the point where we have difficulty moving forward. And now when you have individuals that are saying you'll never be anything, you'll never amount to anything, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're too old to go back to school and get a degree, you're too old to be in the workforce, you can't hang out with the young cats, you can't do this and you can't do that. It's always can't. Well, you know something? How about empowering men to say, you know what? Let's look at it realistically to see how you can do that. Mephibosheth was critically injured, and he lived in a place called Lodabar, which translates the place of nothing. And there are men that are out there in that place of nothing. They don't know which way to go. They don't know which way to turn. They don't know who to turn to. They have trust issues. They don't know what is going on. They sometimes don't know their left foot from their right foot. They don't know, well, should I go forward? Should I stay still? What's the deal? What happened? So when we use words to talk into people's lives and to talk into their future, we have to be very careful of the words that we use because they have power and they come to life. So with Mephibosheth being crippled and in the place called Lodabar, the place of nothing, he felt for the rest of his life, he's never going to amount to anything. He's going to die in Lodabar. He's going to die in the place of nothing. But then David, being king, remembered the promise that he had. He remembered the promise that he had made to Jonathan to take care of his offspring, to take care of his family. He knew Saul was trying to kill him, but he still made that promise to Jonathan. So now when he made that promise, he remembered and he said, well, wait a minute, is there anybody still left in the lineage of Saul, in the lineage of Jonathan? And somebody said, yeah, he has a son and he's crippled. He's down in Lodabar. So David said, go get him. Now, I got to paint this picture in order to describe the atmosphere at that time. So the servant was telling David, you want me to go into Lodabar? You want me to go into the hood? You know what that place looks like? You know what can happen to us down there? And David was like, I don't care. You just go get Mephibosheth. So he had to, he had to be obedient to the king. So when they went down to Lodabar, and they said, King David wants to see you. He wants you. He summons you. Now Mephibosheth starts to panic. He's like, oh man, what did I do? Why is the king summoning me? I'm down here in the ghetto. I'm down here in the hood. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows where I am. I'm in a place of nothing. This place is desolate. Why does the king want me? So then he goes and meets the king and he bows before King David. And David said, look, you don't have to bow before me. Listen, your father has saved my life on many occasions. So from now on, you will sit and eat at the king's table. You will no longer dwell in the place of nothing. So, Bishop J, where are you going with this? What I'm saying is that individuals, that men specifically, who have had negative things spoken into their lives to the point where they feel as though that they're never going to amount to anything, they're never going to get out of where they are, they're always going to be stuck in the cave. They're always going to be the ability to see out, but not get out. Those individuals I'm speaking to tonight to say, listen, somebody is going to come and summon you. God will allow someone to come and summon you and say, listen, it's time to come out of that place of nothing where you are. And you may say, well, Bishop J, I got a good life. I'm married. I got kids. I got the picket fence. I got the cars in the driveway. I'm good. Yeah. And if you are, great. That's a blessing to be in that position. But not everyone is in that position. You ever seen somebody who has so much money, but they're still miserable? You ever seen somebody that has no money, but they're elated and they're exuberant? And you wonder, how can that happen? It's simply because in their minds, they're saying, I may not have the physical means to be able to do what I need to do in order to live or survive, but yet I'm still alive and I'm still able to do certain things. I'm still able to get around. I'm still able to feed myself. I'm still able to wash myself. I may not have $1 million in the bank, but you know what? I'm in my right mind. I'm able to feed myself. I've got my freedom. So there are certain things that individuals will look at, men will look at and say, I need this. And other individuals say, well, no, I don't need that. I've got this. So, man, I'm saying to you tonight in Man Cave, if you're stuck in that cave where individuals have spoken negative things into your life and have never had anything positive to say, here it is now. You have to be able to speak it into your own life. You have to be able to now dismiss what has been spoken into your life and say, hey, you know what? I'm not hearing that anymore. I saw a Facebook post the other day. It was so powerful. It says, don't be afraid to start something new. You're not starting from scratch. You're actually starting from experience. So those of you men that are out there that have had negativity attach itself to you so much that you feel down and out that you're never going to succeed. First, let me tell you this. Don't measure your success against someone else's success. That's a big mistake. I've mentored men since I've been in the ministry 12 years now. I've been preaching 12 years now. What we men sometimes do, which is an error, we tend to measure our successes against someone else who is already successful. And when we don't see the parallel and we don't see ourselves as successes, then we get depressed. Then our self-esteem drops, our confidence drops. Well, you have to understand that that person is successful because they met the goals that they set for themselves. You didn't set their goals, they set it. So now you have to set your own goals and say, you know what? When I reach it, not if, but when I reach that goal, I'm successful. But when you measure your success against somebody else's success, you're measuring your success against their goals. You don't know what their goals were. You don't know what their goals are. So don't fall into that cave to say, I'm not going to make it because somebody else who's doing the same thing or something similar, they've made it and I'm not making it. That's their goal. That's their success. Don't fall into that cave. We've had the opportunity to tell and to raise our children and tell them, listen, when you see somebody that's in a pit, you don't have to fall in that pit to validate that they're in a pit. because if they're in a pit, they're yelling for help. For example, I don't have to experience having bad credit to see what bad credit can do. If someone else who has already experienced that is telling me, listen, don't do this, but do this, then I'm going to listen to that individual, because you know why? That's that David in my life. That's that individual that God is sending to say, listen, in order to not fall into that pit, or even to get out of that pit or out of that cave, I'm sending someone with instructions. I'm sending someone with directions. I'm sending someone to help you get out of that cave. There was a story that was told about a donkey. Donkey had fell into this pit, and maybe some of you have heard the story. The donkey had fell into this pit, and when the donkey fell into the pit, the owners of the donkey realized they could not get the donkey out. If they put a rope down there, someone would have to climb down there to tie the rope around the donkey, and then you'd have to have enough individuals to help pull that donkey out of that hole, and they just didn't have the resources. So what they started doing, they felt sorry for the donkey. In them feeling sorry for the donkey, they now started to throw dirt on the donkey. Why they threw dirt on the donkey? Because they didn't want to see the donkey suffer. So they figured if they throw dirt on him, he'll die, and they don't have to see him suffer. They don't have to see him starve to death. We know donkeys sometimes are considered dumb animals, stubborn animals. But let me say this particular donkey was intuitive. This particular donkey was getting the dirt put on him, but he was shaking the dirt off. More dirt came, he shook it off. More dirt came, he shook it off. More dirt came, he shook it off. What was happening was the donkey was causing the dirt to hit the ground. And as more dirt came, he shook it off, the pile of dirt got higher, to the point where as they shoveled more and more dirt on him, he stepped up on the dirt high enough to get out of the hole. So what I'm saying to you this evening on Man Cave, Man Up is when people throw dirt your way, shake it off. You may say, Bishop J, it's easier said than done, man. You know, people talk about you, disrespect you, this, that, and the other. Yeah, they do. But you know what? They're going to talk about you regardless. Whether you succeed, they're going to be jealous of you. They're going to talk about you. Whether you fail, they're going to make fun of you. They're going to talk about you. Either way, they're going to talk about you. It's a no-win situation in regards to that. You can't control their tongues because that's their opinion. They have a right to their opinion, and they have freedom of speech. But you set the goal for yourself, and you achieve it yourself. So when they start to throw dirt, your goal is, you know what? I'm not even going to let myself entertain what you're saying. If that's how you feel about it, it's all good, baby. What that's going to do is now drive me to shake that dirt off and now step on what you're saying about me, step on what you're saying to me, step on what you're trying to negatively deposit into my life, negatively deposit into my future. I'm going to take that and step on it. And the more dirt you throw on me, the more I'm going to step on it. Because what you're doing is you're putting me in a position to be able to come out of that cave, to come out of that pit that you're trying to put me in. So men, when individuals are talking down to you, they're talking about you, talking behind your back, it's all good. It's all good, because you know what? The self-esteem and self-confidence that you're going to develop inside of you is going to look way past that. It's going to look past that immaturity. It's going to look past that nonsense. It's going to look past that childness-like attitude. Have you ever taken into consideration that sometimes individuals want to be you? And you say, well, Bishop J, you just talked about me being in the cave, me being in the pit. Why would people want to be me? Because there are certain characteristics that you have that other people may want, and they don't know how to get it. That's where jealousy comes in. Individuals may be jealous of you simply because they want what you have. I heard a air personality say many, many years ago that he said, you know, be happy that people are talking about you. Because number one, you're on their mind. And number two, they want to be like you. or they want to be you. They want to have what you have. They want to be in your shoes. They want to, but they're too proud to say, "Hey, show me how you did that. Show me how you excelled and got to where you needed to be. Show me how you got out of the cave." But instead, they rather bring you down to make themselves look good. Understand, man, when individuals try to discredit you or they talk about you in a condescending fashion in front of other people, they're trying to bring you down below themselves so they look good. We've heard it said many, many times, but I'm going to break it down for you like that. They want to bring you below their level. So if you're at a level 8, so to speak, or even a level 9, and they're at a level 10, they want to try to discredit you to bring you to a level 3. So now they're higher than you are and they look better than you. Stay at your level 8. Don't come down to their level. Simply because the Bible tells us that if we resist the devil, he'll flee. I don't have to entertain that because you know what? It doesn't mean anything to me. I had a supervisor tell me one time, "Hey man, I need for you to make me proud." And I came back and said, "Listen, I don't have to make you proud simply because if I think that I am doing my best and it's making you proud, you can always come back and say that's never enough. But when I make myself proud and when I reach the goals that I've set and I've put in place those things that I want to achieve in my life, what you're going to see is the residual, not what's connected to you to make you happy. Because now, again, I become the worker bee to your goal. Your goal is you want me to make you proud, and I've got to work to do that. Well, what do I get out of the deal? I'm making you proud? No, I'm going to make myself proud. I'm going to make myself happy. So when individuals come to you and they tell you, "Hey man," they want to bury you with words. Hey brother, I'm not signing for that, man. I'm not feeling it. I'm not signing for that. Simply because that's not my life. That's not my portion. My wife says that a lot. That's not my portion. In other words, that's not part of me. That's not part of my makeup. I'm not going to let you tell me it's part of my makeup. I'm not going to let you force me to believe that's part of my makeup. If you want the negativity, keep it to yourself. But I'm not going to let you bury me before I get to my goals. I'm not going to let you bury me with negative words that's going to stop me from getting to my goals. I'm not going to let you bury me alive to stop me from being a success, the success that I want to be. So men, tonight when you talk about when we're talking about being in the cave, this is when somebody puts you in the cave and you decide to stay there because you're accepting what you want. If you look at your screen right now, I know you're looking at Facebook and excuse me, Facebook and YouTube, looking at that screen, and you see that picture that's behind. You see that individual getting that rope. The man is climbing up that rope. But do you see anybody inside the cave hoisting him up? No. Do you see him make a pallet or something to stand on to get to the rope? No. That rope is indicative of somebody throwing a rope and saying, "You want to get out, climb up. You want to get out, climb up." And that's what Man Cave is about. The only way out, man up. Man up and say, "Hey man, I'm not having that." You can say whatever you want, but this is the real deal. I don't have to succumb to what you say. And sometimes, you know what? God will even tell you, the Holy Spirit will even speak to your heart and say, "You know what? Don't even say anything. Don't even speak a word." Again, if you resist the devil, he'll flee from you. Don't even say a word. God says the battle is not yours, it's his. So if you get into a situation where somebody again is discrediting you, trying to make you look bad in front of people, and God says, "Hold your tongue, be silent. Don't say a word." Don't let that flesh or that ego make you want to lash out at that person when God is saying be quiet, because you're going to mess it up. Believe me, I've been there. You're going to mess it up. When God says, "Hey, don't say anything, don't say anything, just be quiet, hold your peace," then God is already in control of that situation. He's telling you, "Step back, bruh. I got this. Move out the way, shield your face. It's about to get on and popping." That's what God is saying when he's telling you to be quiet. Because people are watching you and they're watching to see how you're going to react. Someone is always watching you when you don't even see them. Someone is always listening to you when you don't even know that they're around. So when somebody comes for you, even though you didn't sin for them, and God says, hold your tongue, all you got to do is just stand there and say, okay, cool. All right. Walk away. Because that same one that discredited you may be that same individual that may have to come to you for a favor, may have to come to you to ask to borrow some money, or even ask for a prayer, whatever the case may be. Whatever God is telling you to do it. So when you're in the cave, if you want to stay there, dismiss everything that I've said tonight. But if you want to man up and get out that cave, don't let anyone, I mean anyone, mother, father, sister, brother, friend, wife, girlfriend, doesn't matter. Don't let anyone say to you or speak negative into your life. Because once it attaches itself to you and gets inside your spirit, it's going to be a hard thing to knock. It may be a hard thing to knock for some of you right now. But I can tell you this, I've been there. I've been there where I've looked for other people to validate me. And Man Cave is not just about other people, it's about me too. I'm growing with Man Cave too, because God gave me Man Cave for men. He's saying there are men out there who are too proud or too afraid to say, hey, I need help. I need a word. I need somebody to holler at. I'm going through some stuff. I just need somebody that I can talk to, lend an ear to. And oh, by the way, man, I'm gonna say this from the heart. I hate when men gossip. I hate it when men gossip. If a brother comes to you in confidence and says, hey man, I need somebody to talk to, don't take that brother's information and run and go tell somebody else. Really? That brother came to you in confidence. This is one of the reasons why sometimes men don't trust other men. I'm not saying it happens all the time. But again, because that individual has trusted you with that information, don't go run and tell somebody else to make you look good. Because now you're bringing that brother down. So now you're burying that brother alive, because now that brother is not going to trust another brother simply because of what you did. But a brother is saying to you, hey man, I'm having problems in my marriage. I need to talk to somebody. Let the brother talk. Let him talk. Sometimes he just need to get it off his chest. Let him talk. Don't bury him with more stuff when he's trying to get out the cave. If you can't throw the rope, don't even bother to help. If you know somebody that can throw the rope down into the cave, then redirect that brother into that other brother's life to help him out. But don't gossip. Don't throw a brother under the bus like that. It's wrong, and that individual is going to be hard for that man to trust again. Okay? So tonight we talked about being buried alive. We talked about Mephibosheth. Even though he wasn't talked about, there was a circumstance that was created in his life, that occurred in his life, that caused him to be crippled. But even in his circumstance, even in his crippling, even in his place of living in a place of nothing, a place called nothing, even though being in that, God still sent somebody to get him out of that cave. So don't push to the side whoever God sends. Sometimes God can speak through other people. Sometimes God can speak to you in dreams. Sometimes God can speak to you in visions. God can speak to you however he chooses to speak to you. But just listen to hear what is being said, so that way you can get out of the cave. This is Bishop J with Man Cave. Listen, I want to thank you for being a part of Man Cave. We're going to do this every Thursday. We're going to be broadcasting on the New Praise Radio from 5:30 to 6 p.m. NewPraiseRadio.com runs music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They allow me to be on the Traffic Jam show. So if you know a brother that needs to hear these sessions of Man Cave, let them know about it on the New Praise Radio. Also broadcasting on the Man Cave Man Up channel with Bishop J on YouTube. You can come back and watch the videos at any time. Same thing with Facebook. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube page so that way I can see some of the comments and maybe some of the topics that you want to talk about. And again, if you don't want to ask questions on the YouTube page, email me at mancavemanup14@gmail.com. Facebook, I've got a group page called Man Cave Man Up. Go ahead and request access to that group page. We're going to be talking about some of the things that we're going to be doing, some of the places that we're going to be going. And listen, Man Cave, let me tell you this, Man Cave Man Up is being broadcasted outside of Frankfurt, Germany. Yes, outside of Frankfurt, Germany, the country of Germany called Deutschland. Man Cave Man Up is being broadcasted here outside of Frankfurt, Germany. So we are traveling around the world to have Man Cave be a significant piece in men's lives as God sees fit for it to do. It was prophesied to me already that Man Cave Man Up is going to be a success. You know, anytime you start something new, you always have those butterflies in your stomach. And you say, okay, God, am I hearing you right? Am I hearing you correctly? Is this something that you want me to do? Am I on point with this? How do you want me to do this? He sent someone to prophesy to me and say, it's already a success. Man Cave Man Up is going to help men come out of where they are because they're too afraid sometimes to say, I need a helping hand. I need a way out. I need a rope. And let me end with this. And you may hear me say this story later on sometimes as well in other segments of Man Cave Man Up. There was the story tells about an individual. Him and his friend like to climb mountains. They were mountain climbers. And there was a snowstorm when they went to climb this mountain peak. Snowstorm happened, avalanche rolled, they got turned away, didn't know where they were. So the story goes on to say that the man was clinging to a rope, somewhat similar to what you see in the picture. The man was clinging to a rope. And he heard the voice of God, and the voice of God said, let go of the rope, son. Let go of the rope. And the man knew he had climbed miles up that mountain, so many feet up that mountain. He was turned around so much with the avalanche that he didn't know which way was up. But he heard the voice of God say, let go of the rope. He said, no. God said, let go of the rope, son. He said, no. He said, this is the only thing that I can cling to in life. This is the only thing. He said, I don't know where I am. I've fallen. I'm way up in the mountain. If I let go of this rope, I'm going to die. The story goes on to say, the man said, God said to the man, let go of the rope. The man said no. So a few days later, he was found by the rescuers. He was frozen to death, still clinging to that rope. He was only 2 feet off the ground. If he had let go of the rope, he would have only fallen 24 inches. He wouldn't have fallen to his death. He froze to death. 24 inches. The distance between him keeping his life and him forfeiting it. So I'm going to say that to you in closing, brothers. Are you ready to let go of the rope that you've been holding on to, that's been keeping you in the cave because it's not attached to anything? Or are you ready to climb up? When God sends that rope, sends that person with that rope to get you to climb up, are you ready to climb out? This is what Man Cave, Man Up is about. Thanks for joining me again. This is Bishop J on Man Cave, Man Up, where the only way up, the only way out rather, is to man up. Again, join me on YouTube channel, Man Cave, Man Up channel with Bishop J. Again, Facebook and the New Praise Radio. Until next time, this is Man Cave, the only way out. Man up.